Welcome to the storytelling space of life begins at 70. Today, we invite you to listen to a poignant story titled Love Gone Astray in the Twilight Years. This is a journey through love, betrayal, and forgiveness in the final chapters of life, where a woman who once sacrificed her youth finds herself in a tempting relationship, not out of immorality, but out of a deep hunger for affection. In a peaceful neighborhood shaded by old trees and echoing with birdsong, there lived a young man named Dung, tall, strong, and admired by many for his disciplined routine. Every morning, his steady jogging drew glances from curious neighbors, admiration from younger girls, and quiet intrigue from others who never spoke of it aloud. One crisp morning, Dung met his petite, gentle neighbor. Their eyes met over a shared smile. Mai was the kind of girl who carried silence like a poem, calm, respectful, with a sweetness that never demanded attention but quietly received it. They began exchanging brief greetings, which turned into longer conversations. Soon, their encounters became the highlight of her mornings. To Dung, Mai was kind and easy to talk to. To Mai, Dung was the man she could imagine building a future with. But what neither of them knew was that another pair of eyes watched those moments carefully, Mrs. Lon, Mai's mother. In her 50s but still graceful, Mrs. Lon had long buried her desires in the routines of motherhood and marriage. Her husband, Mr. Ben, had become a shadow of the man she once loved, distant, quiet, absorbed in television, and oblivious to the needs of her heart. That morning, at the market, Mrs. Lon saw Dung again. She fixed her scarf, adjusted her lipstick, and walked toward him with a casual air. Out shopping early, she asked, voice light. Dung smiled politely. Yes, picking up vegetables. Cooking for myself today. There was nothing unusual in the words, but the way they lingered by the fish stall, comparing prices and laughing about the weather, told a different story. By the time they parted, a seed had been planted. At home, the contrast was jarring. Mr. Ben didn't notice her flushed cheeks. He didn't ask why she returned later than usual. He didn't ask anything. He stayed on the sofa, eyes glued to a comedy rerun. When she spoke, he responded with disinterest. That evening, after another sharp argument over something trivial, a glass fell and shattered. The sound echoed through the small home. Dung, passing by, knocked gently. "Are you okay, Auntie?" he asked. She forced a smile. He entered, helped her sweep the shards, and as she thanked him, her eyes filled. "No one's looked at me the way you just did, in years," she whispered. And in that moment, something shifted. What started as casual help soon became familiarity. Dung came by with fruit, sometimes with meals he'd cooked. They chatted. She laughed. One night, as he handed her a bowl of soup, their fingers touched. Neither pulled away. Beneath the soft kitchen light, the distance between them melted. That night, Mrs. Lon remembered what it felt like to be desired. The next morning, she sat alone, staring at her wedding photo. Her decision came like breath: she would not divorce. The shame, the disruption to the family, it was too much. But she also couldn't let go of Dung. He agreed to keep their meetings private. And so, the two lived in parallel rhythms, Mr. Ben oblivious, trying to make amends with chocolates and chores, while Dung entered the house only through the back gate. But secrets age faster than truth. Dung began to crave something real. "Can I be more than a secret?" he once asked. Mrs. Lon, eyes tired, whispered, "Some things must stay hidden to survive." Then came illness. A fever, relentless and deep. For days, she could not rise from bed. It was Mr. Ben who stayed. He cooked plain porridge, wiped her neck with cool towels, and read her old newspaper articles she once liked. He didn't ask about the phone that kept buzzing. He simply cared. When she recovered, her first message was to Dung, "It's over. I'm returning to what I should have never left." Dung, heart bruised, replied, "I understand. Thank you for being honest." That night, she made dinner with trembling hands. She placed each dish before Mr. Ben as if offering a prayer. He ate slowly. She finally looked up and said, "I'm sorry." He nodded. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's choosing peace. For weeks, life resumed a quiet pattern. But shadows returned in whispers. One day, Mr. Ka, a neighbor, mentioned he'd seen Dung leaving their house. Mr. Ben said nothing. The next time, he waited. And he saw it. He saw the lie. Yet again. He didn't shout. He didn't rage. He walked to the cafe and stared out the window. That evening, he asked her, "Why?" She looked at the floor. "Because I waited for you too long. And you never came." He said quietly, "We live as old friends now. But let us at least be honest once." Mrs. Lon cried. Not from guilt. From the fact he still stayed. After that, Dung and Mrs. Lon met elsewhere, motels out of town, rooms that held warmth but no future. Dung, now older, began to feel the weight of it. "Will this always be our story?" he asked. She turned away. Then came another fever, stronger than the last. And again, it was Mr. Ben who stayed. This time, as she recovered, she looked at him sleeping by her bedside and knew, this is who never left. She wrote to Dung, "I've gone too far. I can't see you anymore. Please understand." He replied, "I always did. Be well." Days later, she sat with Mr. Ben as he poured tea. "We've lived through so much," she said. "Whatever time we have left, let's spend it kindly." He nodded. "Let's live light." The meals that followed were quiet, but this time filled with truth. She no longer needed to pretend. And though the ache for Dung lingered in her bones, she never messaged again. Some days, she stood by the window, watching the alley where he used to walk. She smiled, not with regret, but with a quiet goodbye. And in the final years of their lives, Mr. Ben and Mrs. Lon found something they'd long lost, not passion, not youth, but a fragile, forgiving peace. This story ends, but its echo lingers. Love is not always loyal. Marriage is not always tender. But forgiveness, when it arrives, can still be a kind of salvation. If you resonate with this story, please leave a comment and subscribe to Life Begins at 70 for more heartfelt and meaningful stories.